Jai Jagannath. In this episode, I will present a mythological story. Mythological stories usually come from Puranas, epics, etc., which is the truth for some, believed by some, whereas fact is the truth for all, being supported either by history or by science, depending upon the case. And fiction is the truth of none, presenting only the idea of the story writer or the novelist. This is the story of how a king come warrior became a yogi. This is the story of what happens when human power confronts divine power. Most important of all, this is the story of a mantra. Mantras are no doubt sacred chantings and do have healing process by setting off an astral resonance in the body. It removes or makes thin the veil of the delusion of Maya, ever so slightly it parts and enables us to perceive the creator behind the creation. Anybody cannot come up with a mantra. When a self-realized spiritual master goes into the state of deep meditation, remains in constant communion with God with a specific intention, that's for the beneficial of everybody. God helps him by manifesting himself in a set of astral sounds, which is ultimately given by the monk as a mantra to this cosmic universe. Mere chanting of Rama, 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 Rama takes us to an uplifted state. A mantra with 6 syllables, Om Namo Shivaya, destroys bad habits and thereby empowers us with strength. A mantra with 12 syllables, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, directs our energy upwards towards God. A mantra with 32 syllables, Mahamrutyunjay mantra, Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urbarukam Eva Bandhanan Mrutyor Muktyo Mahmrutat, is a mantra for liberation, but the most powerful and exalted amongst the mantras, filled with benevolence and grace, chanted by millions of people over thousands of years, no matter who he is a mantra of 24 syllables, that is the Gayatri Mantra. Chanting of Gayatri Mantra will enable us to remove the cosmic burden that we carry and leads us towards enlightenment. The story behind this Gayatri Mantra is that long ago, that is in a higher age, Satya Yuga, there lived a king named Vishwamitra. During that period, Dharma was firmly established, that is righteousness, and people were prosperous and lived in complete harmony with each other. Vishwamitra himself was a great warrior and had an undefeated army, with the help of which he established his dominion over much of this earth. He ruled with a perfect combination of justice, might, and love. In order to gather intelligence about his kingdom, once he started on a tour over the entire kingdom by taking thousands of his best soldiers, which lasted for around a year, and they reached their last stoppage in a deep forest where the hermitage of his spiritual guru Vasishtha was located. Vasishtha was a Brahma Rishi. Brahma means supreme power. Rishi means in constant communion with the supreme power. As a mark of his spiritual achievement, he carried out a wooden staff, Brahmadanda. When he spoke, God spoke through him. His consciousness was the perfect mirror of divine consciousness. King Vishwamitra paid his homage to his spiritual guru, and when asked by Vasishtha, "How is your kingdom?" Vishwamitra replied, "Everything is okay with your grace, Gurudev." Vasishtha offered a lunch to Vishwamitra. Seeing the limited resources in the ashram, Vishwamitra much reluctantly said yes, since he cannot deny his Gurudev. Vasishtha culled a divine cow that was available with him. Very wistful and loving, he touched his wooden stub on the head of the cow and said, "Please prepare a lunch for my guests who are so many in numbers." The cow gave a loving mooing sound which the cows usually give. Wondrous things happened. Heaps of warm, delicious food, including mounds of varieties of sweets with jackfruits, along with barrels of honey, milk, etc., came out of her belly and were served in table and chair arranged in a open space with proper utensils. The soldiers of King Vishwamitra, who didn't have a good food during the entire year of the tour, pounced upon the food and enjoyed the delicious divine food for an hour long. While eating, Vishwamitra thought that in case I shall have this divine cow in my palace, then it would be possible for me to vanish hunger at the time of drought and famine. Before leaving, he asked to his spiritual guru, "Please give me the divine cow and I will provide you whatever you want in lieu of that." But Vasishtha replied very coolly, calmly, that that is a divine cow and will not survive in your palace. When after much negotiation from the side of the king went in vain, the tone of King Vishwamitra was changed. His anger got aroused. Ego was already there being the king. And he said with caution, "Mind your language with whom you are speaking. Even the land on which you stand belongs to me. So it is now ordered that hand over the cow to me." But Vasishtha very coolly replied, "It will die in your palace, so you shall not have it." Then Vishwamitra snaps his finger. His general came. "What's the order, my lords?" "Capture the cow." Then a squad of soldiers rushed towards the cow. The cow looked in innocence towards Vasishtha. Vasishtha touched his Brahmadanda on his forehead, on her forehead, and said, "You have the capacity to protect yourself. God has spoken, which cannot be false, which must be true." To everybody's utter dismay, thousands of soldiers came out of her belly, which included the expert charioteers of Greece, horsemen from Mongolia, swordmen from Cambodia, and archers from India. In a fierce battle between both the sides, the army of King Vishwamitra was decimated, defeated, and eviscerated. Vishwamitra was stunned at the defeat. Never he had experienced defeat and always believed in human power. But here what happened? An emaciated old monk with a wooden staff and a cow defeated him. Burning with anger, cheeks turned red in humiliation. In a stammering voice he told, "I do not know how this has happened, but this is not all over. I will be back." He turns around, strides away from the ashram, reached the palace, handed over the kingdom to his sons, and proceeded towards the Himalayas in order to meditate with the desire of getting divine power. At Himalayas, he starts meditating Lord Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya. After 1,000 years of his meditation with severe austerity, Lord Shiva appears before him. "My son, what you want?" "My lord, you are the god of destruction, the patent saint of all the weapons, physical, astral, celestials. I would like to have with me the power of air, fire, and water, the poison of all the poisonous snakes, and the ferocity of all the wild animals." Shiva said, "Tathastu, be it so." Being filled with the divine grace. He felt quite energetic. All of his angers, repressed for 1,000 years, relapsed unabated, seeking vengeance. He has the power of wind with him. Immediately he flies to the ashram of Vasishtha, descends there. Seeing the place of his humiliation, his anger cracks up uncontrolled. Immediately he fires the power of air, fire and water on Vasishtha. Vasishtha could manage to protect himself and his disciples with the help of his wooden staff, Brahmadanda. But there was wanton destruction all over. Came Vasishtha with a resonant voice. What have you done, treacherous king? This is the way you have prepared for the great banquet that I hosted for you. For the great sin that you have committed, you are to pay the price. Vishwamitra laughs at Vasishtha. On that day, you had a magical cow which could be able to defeat my armies. But today, I have all the powers of Shiva with me. Now, get ready to face my wrath. Immediately, he goes for his last but not the least option, that is the nuclear option. He chants the mantra which has the potency of the creator Brahma and shoots the Brahmastra at Vasishtha. Immediately, all the powers of the creation was sucked in, causing spasms in the earth. Earthquakes, tsunami, thunderstorms breaks out everywhere. Even there was disturbances in the heaven. Vasishtha's skin gone dark and sparks came out of his hairs. Somehow he was quite disturbed. Somehow he could be able to withstand the onslaught with the help of the wooden staff, Brahmadanda. And gradually the power of the creation was absorbed in that wooden staff given by the Creator, and ultimately all the powers dissipates into the all of creation. Harmony was completely restored. At this juncture of ultimate defeat, Vishwamitra now feels that actually what happens when even great human power confronts the infinite divine power. In a moment of epiphany, he says, what a sin I have committed. These are the hands which are about to kill my Gurudeva. But he was a warrior having indefatigable willpower. He didn't dwell on what went wrong. He took the immediate decision and declares then and there, the only way I can atone for my sin is to myself become a Brahma Rishi, so that I will remain in constant communion with God, who would guide me towards atonement of my sin. Before leaving, he reiterated the same words he told at the time of his last departure, but of course with a mild tone. This is not all over. I will be back. Please forgive me. He proceeds to Himalaya again, goes into deep meditation. After 1,000 years of his deep meditation, Lord Brahma appears. My son Vishwamitra, I am completely pleased with your strong will and single-minded contemplation on me. Now you are a Raja Rishi, king amongst rishis and rishi amongst kings. Brahma vanishes, but Vishwamitra wants to be a Brahma Rishi. He goes into meditation again, but meanwhile his attention was somewhat distracted by a beautiful woman, that is a Apsara Menaka, but somehow he could get rid of her clutches and goes into deep meditation with severe austerity again. When he sits in meditation one day, his attention got distracted again by the song of a melodious songbird. He opens his eye, curses the bird. But the very moment he could feel that, why should I have anger with me? I have anger with me because I have got desire to be a Brahma Rishi. Why should I desire? Because I have got attachment. Why should I have attachment? I have long left the kingdom. I do not know even the condition of my descendants. I wear the robe of a monk. Why should I buy attachment? Then he could realize the real essence of problem. I have attachment because I am attached to things. I am attached to the beauty of nature. I am attached to the beauty of a woman. I need to therefore concentrate not on the things, not on the things that is creation, but rather to contemplate on the Creator. This was a great transformation that came to Vishwamitra on that day, and thereafter he denounces his desire of becoming a Brahmarshi, and with the hope of getting salvation, goes into meditation again, getting into reality through Shraddhaya, self-introspection. Vishwamitra indulges in severe austerity, lifts his arms, stands on one leg, and not only continues to go without food and drink, but starts remaining without sleep and even breath by using the yogic power. In this way, almost 1,000 years flew by. One day, while in meditation, Lord Vishnu appears before him in human form, resplendent in golden robes, arms lifted in benediction. Vishwamitra opens his eye. Vishnu says, Vishwamitra, my son, friend of the universe, today you have become a Brahmarshi. Hold out your right hand. Vishwamitra lifts his right hand. Vishnu presents the wooden staff on that hand as a mark of his spiritual achievement of becoming a Brahmarshi. Tears roll down the cheeks of Vishwamitra when he doesn't want to be a Brahmarshi anymore. What is the need of becoming a Brahmarshi when he has already got God within him, and the need of a title or a wooden staff doesn't carry any importance? But this is the reality of even our all great aspirations. That's a game that God plays. It's Leela of gods. Vishwamitra says, my Lord, the hand on which you have placed the wooden staff has sinned greatly by striking my Gurudeva. How can I atone for my sin? Lord Vishnu says, my son, dark ages are coming. You have got indomitable willpower. Can you not find out a trick to mitigate the pain and suffering of the people during the coming dark ages for which great human power is required? Vishwamitra says, that will be done, my Lord. Vishnu vanishes. Vishwamitra goes into meditation again. For a Brahmarshi, what is time? He travels in advance to his time, reaches the Kali Yuga, descends on the earth in astral form, and moves around the people, seeing the pain and suffering of the people during Kali Yuga caused due to lust, desire, greed, ego, disease, and the cycles of birth, death. He was pained a lot. For a monk with infinite bliss, so much of pain was simply intolerable, which was just like the heart-wrenching wail of a petulant soul. He goes into meditation and says, oh God, please show me the way out. How can I be able to mitigate this pain and sufferings of the people? Remains in divine ecstasy for a long, long period. One day while in meditation, he hears a sound on his right ear. When he focuses on that, his pain was a bit relieved. Then the sound appears in 4 lines before him. He reads out, Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yanah Prachodayat. After chanting this, his pain was completely relieved. He says, even during the depths of human suffering, merely listening to it relieves my pain to some extent. I shall call this the Gayatri Mantra, which by chanting which it would be possible for people to get relief of their pain and suffering during the coming dark ages. He hears the same mantra being chanted by others in his front. He opens his eye and sees what? None other than Brahmarshi Vasishtha with a smiling face, his wide eyes filled with God's peace, love and compassion, surrounded by other gods and angels. Vasishtha comes near Vishwamitra, says, Vishwamitra, friend of the universe, Brahmarshi, through whom God speaks. God used your anger to provide you with such a great mantra, that is the Gayatri mantra, which when chanted by people in the Kali Yuga, they will get relieved of their worldly pain and suffering, and it will also lead them towards their enlightenment. Vishwamitra and others say, be glory to Vasishtha, Rishi Vasishtha and others claps at Vishwamitra. They say, be glory to Vishwamitra, be blessed Vishwamitra, let the name of Vishwamitra shine on the sky, so long as the sun and the moon shines on the sky. In this way comes the Gayatri Mantra to us as a great gift by Vishwamitra, the Brahmarshi. Jai Jagannath.